Okay, people, let's take a look at how we can use the mountains, hills, and rocks strategy to help us find a missing end time. Our word problem here says, Claire and Reese left for cheerleading camp at 10:15 a.m. The camp lasted for 5 hours and 27 minutes. What time did the cheerleading camp get over? First important piece of information that I notice is our first time, 10:15 a.m. And remember, when we see that a.m. right there, that stands for morning. The camp lasted for 5 hours and 27 minutes. That is our next important piece of information. Anytime I see time written out in words like that, I like to go through and label them. So the 5, I will put a 5 above, and 27, I'm just going to write that out, 5 hours and 27 minutes. What time did the cheerleading camp get over? Let's go ahead and underline our question so we know what it is we're supposed to answer. Okay, now, if Claire and Reese left for the cheerleading camp at 10:15, that is our start time. So let's label that. The camp lasted for 5 hours and 27 minutes. This is our elapsed time, how much time it took them to do their activity. What time did the cheerleading camp get over? I am going to highlight this word over because since it's in the question here, that tells us that we are looking for an end time. So as you can see, I have drawn out 3 number lines. One is for our mountains, which is hours, one is for hills, which is groups of 10 minutes, and one is for rocks, which is single minutes. Okay, now, their camp started at 10:15 a.m. That is the first piece of information, and since we're finding an end time, we're going to be going forwards on our number line this time. We're going to be adding time. So let's label that as 10:15 a.m. Now, our elapsed time is 5 hours and 27 minutes. That tells us that 5 mountains, 2 groups of 10, that's our hills, and 7 rocks. So let's start with our 5 mountains. And it's very important that we label those. 10:15 plus 1 hour is going to take us to 11:15. Plus 1 hour is going to take us to 12:15. Now remember, we started at AM, 10:15 a.m. Now that we've reached 12, that's 12 noon, we are now in PM. Okay, 12:15 plus 1 hour is 1:15, plus an hour is 2:15, plus an hour is 3:15. Here we have the tools that we get to use, which is an analog clock and a digital clock, and as you can see, it is already set at 10:15. We also know that there were 5 hours. So every time I move around the clock, and this time I'm going to go forward because we're adding time, every time I get back to this 15-minute mark, we will have gone 1 full hour, which is 60 minutes. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, we are now at 3:15 p.m. And that is what we will label down on our next number line, 3:15 p.m. 27 minutes has 2 groups of 10, so I am going to draw 2 hills. And again, we must label. 3:15 p.m. plus 10 minutes is going to be 3:25 p.m. plus another 10 minutes is going to be 3:35 p.m. So remember, looking at our tools, between each of these numbers is 5 minutes. So to go 10 minutes on here, if we're pointing right at the 3, we'll just go 5:10, which is going to look like this. There's 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Now our digital clock says 3:35, and this is what it looks like on the analog clock.
It's important to label that down here, 3:35 p.m. 3:35 p.m. 27 minutes, there are 7 groups of 1, so we are going to draw out 7 rocks and label. 3:35 plus 1 minute is 3:36. Plus 1 minute is 3:37, plus a minute, 3:38, plus a minute, 3:39, plus a minute, 3:40, plus 1 minute is 3:41, plus a minute is 3:42, which is our answer.
Let us move 7 minutes forward on our analog clock. Each of these smaller lines is worth 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can see our digital clock says 3:42 p.m. Here our hour hand is between the 3 and the 4, so it's in the 3 o'clock hour. And our minute hand is pointing at 40, 41, 42.
We can now answer the question. Cheerleading camp ended at 3:42 p.m.